Yes, class. So the next topic that we are going to study is bailer's duties. Like we discussed, the duties of bailee, rights of bailer, and rights of bailee. Now the fourth one is the duties of the bailer. Bailer was the person who gave away his goods to the bailee for some purpose of bailment. So what are his duties under the contract of bailment? The first duty of bailer is that he has a duty to disclose the known defects in the goods bailed. Now you are delivering your goods to somebody else, and those goods are having some defects. Certain defects may be known to you, and certain defects may also be there which are not known to you. Now, the duty of bailer, as per the law, says he is supposed to inform the bailee about the known defects that he knows about. And in case he fails to do that, it means it is something wrong that he has done. So in that case, we have two categories. First, when the bailment was gratuitous. Gratuitous bailment was something done without consideration, where no charges were going to be charged, like you took your car from a friend. And the non-gratuitous bailment, where you were going to charge some consideration, the higher charges of the car in second case 2, talking about the first lecture. So in case the bailment was gratuitous and there are some known defects and you did not tell about those known defects, like that car has some problem with the brake and you never told that person, and he ran the car at a high speed and he could not control, and he went into an accident and he suffered many injuries. So all these injuries, all these medical expenses, they were because of the known defects in that car, which bailer never told to the bailee. So bailer is now supposed to reimburse those medical expenses because you were having a duty to disclose these defects. But in case of bailment is non-gratuitous, where you were going to charge something for the hiring of the car. In that case, you will be accountable whether the defects were known to you or not known to you. So in case there was some unknown defect in the goods bail, then also you are supposed to reimburse or compensate the bailee for the losses that he might have suffered, because you are charging here for the services rendered. So because you are charging him, and whatever is the consequence of your bailment of the goods, whatever are the consequences of the defects involved, you are responsible for those defects also. The second duty is duty to bear extraordinary expenses of bailment. Section 158. Again, I have categorized into two, gratuitous and non-gratuitous bailment. In case bailment is gratuitous, without charges, then whatever, the car was taken away without charges from the friend. Now you have consumed the petrol and you also have caused some damage to the car. You ran that car very badly and you hit that car and there was some injury, so there was some damage to the car. Now you have to pay for the petrol charges, ordinary expenses, and also the hitting damage, extraordinary expenses, because it was for your benefit only. Second, in case that bailment was non-gratuitous bailment, you in that case, bailee is already getting some consideration. So in that case, he is getting a consideration already. So he is not required to pay for the ordinary expenses because that will be covered under the consideration. But he has to pay for the extraordinary expenses additionally. Like I gave you that example of pet in the case 3 in the first lecture. So in that case, the medical expenses were of the pet were extraordinary expenses. The feeding and bathing expenses of the pet were ordinary expenses. The third duty of bailer are duty to indemnify bailee. This we have discussed already in the rights of the bailer. So duty is in case the bailer's title was defective. Because of defective title of the bailer, bailee has to suffer some losses. Now these losses suffered by bailee is because of the fault of the bailer. that his title was defective, his ownership right were not true. So again, referring to the same case which I discussed there, Adamson versus Jarvis. Fourth duty of Bailey is to bear normal risk. Now, in accounting, you must have read about normal losses and abnormal losses. Normal losses are which are beyond your control, which are unavoidable. Like there is petrol, diesel, it will evaporate. There is coal, it will get some portion of the coal will get powdered. So this kind of normal loss of the goods, this normal loss also has to be borne by the bailor, because it is not because of the negligence or because of anything wrong by the bailee. It was something beyond control. These normal losses were bound to occur. So because these normal losses were going to be there, whether the goods are with the bailor or the goods are now bailed to the bailee, these losses were there to happen. So these losses will have to be borne by the bailee bailor himself. Sorry. And last duty of the bailor is to receive back the goods. So this is one of the essentials of bailment also, that when the bailment contract terminates, then you have to get the goods back. Now again, taking the same case of the pet. You gave away the pet for 7 days, that you are going abroad for a week. You came back and you said, it's okay, अभी 2-3 दिन और थोड़ा आराम कर लेता हूँ, आराम करने के बाद जाके नेबर से पेट ले आऊँगा, अभी मैं थोड़ा थका हुआ हूँ. No, that is wrong. You have a duty to receive back the pet because your purpose of bailment is complete. Purpose of bailment here was to give the pet for 7 days, and 7 days have now ex- expired or matured. So all these are the duties of the bailor. So the rights and duties of both the parties, bailor and bailee, it is one of the important questions for long answer type questions. The next topic of bailment is termination of a contract. So bailment contract has been made between bailor and bailee. It will move on, it will get complete. And what are the situations where the bailment contract will terminate, will come to an end, will be completed? The different situations here are, first of all, expiry of specified time. In case the bailment contract was made for a specific time period, like the case 3, the bailment of the pet was for 7 days. So after expiry of that period, bailment will automatically terminate and the dog or the pet will be returned back. Second, in certain cases, the bailment is not for a specified time, but it is for a specific purpose. Like in case 1 and case 2, the car was taken to go on a dinner. So after you are back from dinner, you should return the car because your purpose of bailment is complete. Thirdly, bailment will also get terminated by the bailor. Bailor has a right, we have done this right. Bailor has a right to terminate the contract of bailment even if the time has not expired, time of bailment, even if the purpose of bailment has not been completed. In case the bailee makes some unauthorized use of the goods. Like in the first case, I gave that example where it was mentioned, you please don't take the car to the highway. So in case you took the car to the highway, that means you made the unauthorized use. So in that case, we have discussed that you can cancel the contract of bailment even if the purpose of bailment was yet to be completed. Another mode of termination is destruction of subject matter. Now this person has agreed that he will give his car to you, and after that when he went into his garage, he could not find his car. His car was missing. It was stolen away. So now, because that subject matter of bailment, that car that is missing, that has been lost, the subject matter has destroyed, the bailment is also terminated. You cannot now perform the contract of bailment. Or bailment contract will also come to an end in case there is death of any of the parties, whether that of bailor or that of the bailee. And lastly, the bailment can also get terminated by the bailor in certain cases. Now, bailor being the owner of the goods bailed, he has every right to cancel the contract and to get back his goods. So, in case the bailment was gratuitous bailment, in that case, you were not going to charge anything for that, then you can get back the goods whenever you feel like. But because of this premature termination of bailment, If the bailee has suffered some losses, you will have to compensate his losses because you took back the goods before the time was expired. So these are different categories of the termination modes of the bailment. Moving on, the next and the last topic of bailment contract is finder of lost goods. So I discussed in the beginning lecture that one of the classification of bailment is voluntary bailment and involuntary bailment. So a finder of lost goods, you are finder of somebody's lost goods. So in that case, that person never gave those goods to you intentionally, voluntarily, but you got to get those goods by accident. So in that case, this is not a bailment actually, but still it is said to be a bailment by operation of law, involuntary, without intention of the owner of the goods. You have got the delivery of the goods, and you are bound. You have a duty that you should find out the true owner, and you should return that lost property to that person. So this is involuntary bailment category, and you also have learned about this topic under the quasi contracts. Now, being a bailee of this nature, being a finder of lost goods, bailee in the capacity of finder of lost goods, you in this case also you have certain duties. First is, so long as the goods are with you and the true owner cannot be found out by you, you have to take reasonable care of the goods. Second, when you got back that owner, that when that owner is found, then you have to return those goods. Thirdly, you should not make use of the goods for your own purpose till the owner is found out. Fourthly, you should not mix the goods with your own goods. And next, in case there is some increase in the goods, you have to return the goods, the increase in the goods also. And next, you also have a duty that you should make every effort to find out the owner and not just keep those goods with you and making no efforts to find out the true owner. Then, but being a finder of lost goods, you have certain rights as well. The first right is right of lien. Now you found out the owner. You said, this is the pet which I found out on the road. It belongs to you. Take back your pet. But all these days I have fed this pet. I have spent so many expenses on this pet. Please give back my charges. And that owner says, no, I will not give away those charges. I never asked you to feed my dog, etc. So in that case, a finder of lost goods has a right of lien. He can refuse to hand over your pet back to you unless you pay for the charges of feeding, etc. Second right is right to file a suit for reward. In case for that lost property, for that lost pet, some reward was announced by the true owner that whosoever will find out my dog, I will give this reward to you. So that person who has found out this dog and is handing it over to you, he has a right to get that announced reward from you. Thirdly, right of sale of goods. In case it was a phone or it was something else, and you made every effort but you could not find out the true owner of those goods, then you even has this person has got the right of sale of the goods in case the expenses incurred by him to take good care of those goods become more than two-thirds of the price of those goods. So in that case, you can sell the goods because you have spent so much money on those goods that you have the right to recover that money spent, because the true owner is not there. You're not going to find out that person. Or in case that person is found out, he refuses to pay for your charges spent. In both these cases, you have right to sell the goods. So this topic of finder of lost goods can also come in a short note question in 5 marks. So with this topic, we end with the first part of this chapter, contract of bailment.